For how many minutes? 3 minutes.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. This has been an interesting discussion with regard to which system is better in order to challenge earmarks. One in which you can actually come to the floor and challenge specific earmarks in a bill or in a committee report, or have a situation where the conference report comes to the floor and you have no ability whatsoever, no ability to bring to a vote any of the earmarks that are in there. The distinguished chairman of the Appropriations Committee mentioned that it's better to be able to write a letter to the Appropriations Committee and question an earmark than actually bring it to the floor, because he mentioned that Mr. Flake brought 14 amendments to the floor last year and failed on every one of them. I actually brought 39. I failed even more miserably. I failed all 39 times. 19 of them were called for a roll call vote. I didn't come close on any of them because, as the distinguished member mentioned, log rolling works pretty well. People will say, I won't vote against your earmark if you don't vote against mine. But this year is different, partly thanks to the reforms that the Democrats put in place in January of this year, following the lead of the Republicans in the fall of last year, where you actually say, all right, if you want an earmark, you've got to sign your name and claim credit for that earmark. Of the 39 times that I came to the floor last year, most times when I came to the floor, I had no clue who had sponsored the earmark that I was challenging. Many times, we actually had a vote, sometimes a roll call vote, sometimes a voice vote, and I still left the floor not knowing whose earmark that was, because we didn't have a requirement that the members claim credit for them. That's no longer the case. The Appropriations Committee right now is sitting on more than 30,000 letters, request letters, where the member has actually signed off and said, this is my earmark and it is going to this specific entity. That's something we haven't had before, and I applaud the Democrats for putting that reform in place. The problem is, if we go forward with what has been proposed, it won't mean anything. But here, I can tell you, if I was able to come to the floor with some of those earmarks, knowing which entity it was going to, knowing which member had requested it, and to have the media and others, the blogging community, other organizations going through and finding out what that private entity was. Had that private entity made campaign contributions to that member? If there was a tie that we didn't know about before, it changes the dynamic incredibly here, because then members have to weigh, do I want to do that or not? The distinguished chairman of the Appropriations Committee correctly pointed out that there have been a lot of problems with members and earmarks. There have been investigation. There are members in jail. There are other investigations going on. If you have good information...
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
30 seconds. If you have more information, that gives you power. When you come to the floor and you're able to point specifically at earmarks, knowing which entity they're going to, knowing which members requested them, it changes the dynamic. So I would respectfully disagree with the chairman of the Appropriations Committee to saying that this process that is being put in place is superior to being able to challenge earmarks. Again, let me repeat, under what has been proposed, we will never have a vote on any earmark, and that is simply wrong. I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentlelady.